to the PhD Journey Unplugged podcast. My name is Dr. Sarah Gordon, and I'm the co-founder of the PhD Journey Unplugged podcast. Back in May of 2025, I presented an idea to my colleague, Dr. Marilyn Ward, about starting a podcast focused on health, health promotion, and human performance based on our doctoral studies and experiences as PhD students. Dr. Marilyn Ward and I hold doctorate degrees in health and human performance from Concordia University, Chicago. We use our podcast as a platform to educate and motivate others to live their best lives from the inside out. We are both keenly aware of the emotional and physical toll hard work towards achieving goals can have on the quality of your life. Whether you're pursuing an academic degree, working hard hours in your career, or striving towards big goals, your health is your wealth. The PhD Journey Unplugged podcast will always strive to provide genuine perspectives based on our real life experiences, as well as present evidence-based research findings towards health promotion. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us today. All information and opinions expressed in this podcast are for general purposes only and should not be taken as professional advice.
Hello, and welcome back to the PhD Journey Unplugged podcast. I'm Dr. Marilyn Ward, and this is my colleague, Dr. Sarah Gordon. And as you see, we have another special guest. Dr. Gordon, would you please introduce our guest?
Sure. So, welcome everybody to episode 19. And today we have my friend Laura Rossetti on to talk about her Ironman journey. And so, I met you about a year and a half ago through my
Mhm.
dissertation research, and I knew the moment I met you, we had a really nice connection. I knew you were a really special person and very humble, very positive, and I admired you instantly.
Aw,
And
thank you.
here, you're welcome. And here we are, we've gotten to know each other. You were incredibly supportive of my research. And I've learned more about you. I've gotten to just recently write your story, which will be in Triathlete magazine. So I've gotten to know you even, a little bit better. And so without digging too deep, I'll let you share a little bit about your racing career and your history and athletics and academics. But I know you're headed to Kona, October 11th weekend.
Yes. Well, we're going to second.
Okay. You're heading
Yeah.
down on October 2nd. I know that this will be your 28th
Wow.
Ironman full distance championship in Kona.
Yes.
I know you started at age 32.
Mhm.
I know you have lots of half Ironmans and probably hundreds of sprints, Olympics, and so I don't even know what that total number looks like for you.
I
And
don't either, actually.
but I know you've had a 40-year, maybe plus racing career, and I'm so excited you're going down to Kona now, 2025. The last time you were there was 2022, and you're gonna race at age 70.
Yes.
Wow. That's
It's
amazing.
crazy.
That's
And I
all
just
talk about that's successful aging right there, ladies and
yes.
gentlemen.
And
Successful
I
aging.
and I
Thank you.
think your story, it's not just about triathlon training and athleticism. It's really a story about resilience and about overcoming
It is.
obstacles and
Mhm.
managing burnout and all those kinds of things. So I thought, come, let's just talk about it. So that's really just let's just have some fun and talk about how do you become somebody like you
Oh gosh.
to inspire other people out there.
Does it matter where I start?
No, just wherever you like.
So I started this journey when I was just about to turn 30. So by just doing a local sprint triathlon and just loving it. And I had no idea because I didn't even know what one was before I went to this race. Like I had no concept of transitions. I just had no concept. And I was using my husband's bike and I didn't even know how to change gears. And I'd been on it one other time. So I don't, I started with nothing. And I think part of the story is that you can just continue on the path, whatever that path is for you. But it is, just it. it was hard, sure, it was hard, but it was just more about consistency over time. And that to me, like triathloning is not like you're going to jump in and be the number one person overall ever. It's just, it's more about just being consistent, loving what you're doing. And to me, that one of the biggest things is finding your people in it, that you can train with, that you can talk to, that you have fun with. And I would say through the years, one of my most successful parts of my life has been finding these women through different places that I've lived. I was in Michigan until my early 50s, and then I've been in Atlanta for 18 years. And each place I've been, I have found people. Even when we used to go to vacation in Florida at Easter time, I always found a group of people to ride with. And that is just to me one of the best parts about sport and sport life and being in the sport. It's pretty cool, actually. Very
Can I
cool.
say one thing so people understand like the magnitude of your training and we talk about being in the sport? Did you just say before we started, you just finished a 100 mile
Yeah. So
morning?
last weekend I did a 70.3 in Michigan, northern Michigan.
Okay,
And
wait, yeah, stop. Where from Michigan are you from? I'm from Michigan.
oh,
So
I'm
where?
from Ferndale, Morello, Pleasant Ridge, that whole area. So down south, like just
Oh, okay.
really literally outside of Detroit.
Okay, I'm in
Um,
between Cadillac and Grand Rapids, little
oh,
town called
okay. So
Monroe.
we go through Cadillac to go to this race. You should do
Yeah.
that race. It's in Frankfurt, Michigan.
Okay, I know where that
Really
is.
lovely. Lovely race, lovely community.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so then this weekend, because I am 3 weeks out of my Kona journey, I had to ride 100 miles. And again, I got my husband, and then I got some friends to ride. So it's always so enjoyable to have different people with you and breaking up the monotony of being outside in 90-degree weather for 100 miles.
Great.
So I feel very blessed about a lot of that. I do. And
Oh,
and I also think of myself, I think told Sarah once that I feel like I'm like a wheel and I'm the cog of the wheel. And then I meet these people who become my spokes.
Mhm.
So it
oh,
centers, like they'll do what I want to do. Like if I'm doing 100 or I'm doing 20, they'll do that with me. So I always think of myself as like this little round wheel that goes around. And, over the years, you just find people and you keep them close. Like we can go back to Michigan now and I can call girlfriends that I had from when I was 30 and ride bikes with them. I mean, to me, that's just so enriching and, still inspiring them. And they don't do triathlons anymore, but they'll ride bikes. So it's just,
yeah.
I don't know. It's just something that's been close to my heart and special. And having your people is, I don't know, wonderful. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get the feeling from knowing you in the brief amount of time that I have for the last year and a half, like I feel like you give out to the universe what you get back. You're a very warm,
Ah,
just genuine and positive person. So I think that's
ah, thank
that's
you.
kind of how the community builds. So
Yeah, it does. It does. It really does. And, some of those women I've coached, many of them I haven't. So it's just that's what people need. And I don't know if that's what's missing for a lot of people over time, but it really is important for me, for the longevity in the sport. And, there's not a lot of women that have been in it for 40 years, consistently racing year after year. I don't think I've missed a year, even with other injuries. I've always been able to get one or two races in a year done. So
yeah,
it's
it would be interesting to know what percentage of women
have
Yeah.
been in it that long.
stayed in it that long.
Yeah,
Because we've
I
talked
don't know.
before about another episodes about how as we get older, either
Right.
age stops us or something goes wrong and
Mhm.
you just fall off and then you stop.
Right.
I can't remember which episode we were talking about. But then even last week with the burnout, how the social connection, how
Yes.
important social connection is. And they were
Yes.
talking about burnout, but here we're talking about to keep the flame alive,
Yes. Alive.
with racing
So,
is.
yeah.
So social
I mean, I've
connection.
had two total knee replacements and a doctor who said you probably don't want to run again. And I'm like, but you know me. You
Yeah,
both my knees.
right. I hate when they say that.
Yeah. So I have that's a whole nother story. But I've, come back and am running. I'm not fast in the run anymore, but that's okay. I don't even care about that. I am so thankful that I am out there doing what I love, and maybe I win some, maybe I don't, but it's just what I love. So anyway, sorry.
Well,
No,
I'm
no, that's
curious, do you
perfect.
do you feel that the social connections is what gives you that long-term adherence to it, or do you think it's something internal?
Um,
You're more, because
I,
I think about my
um,
research and the findings of my research, and sense of community was a strong
yes,
motivator, as were other things, enjoyment, fun,
right.
health benefits. But the pattern from the participants were they, people. Um, I didn't study it directly, but tended to be just through words of like enjoyment and fun, like highly intrinsically motivated. So I'm just curious which
Yeah.
you think you might be more of, or if it's just a.
Um, I'm going to probably say 60-40, 60-40 intrinsic and 40% like the social part.
Mhm. That's
Because I
interesting.
think if I didn't wake up every morning and say, I'm going to continue down my path and my dream and the challenges that face me or faced me each time, I don't know, I probably could have gone the other way. And I
Hmm.
always tell people that one of my best friends that I met in the first few years of riding a bike told me that the reason I do what I do is because my mom passed away from COPD. So my whole life, she was somewhat compromised. Maybe not my whole life, but from the time I was doing triathlons. And that I love to breathe because I listen to an oxygen machine.
Right,
I
that's
I know the
interesting.
importance to
Mm.
me of that. So I have her to thank for some of that as well, the intrinsic motivation that I have. And, I've always wanted to show my daughters that it doesn't matter what you do, but you can work towards a goal, hardworking. And my girls are hardworking and they're successful and they love their lives. And so I think if I gave them that little bit of, you know, um, their for whatever what their journeys are, I think probably some of that comes from me. So I think I was never one of those people that quit often. I've had to quit races because of my knees blowing up or whatever, but it's just
Right.
not something I'd loved it to do. So yeah, I have to be you have to have some motivation in there.
Yeah. And we always are trying to say, what is that magic? What is
I
that
know, I was
magic
just gonna
thing?
say, I mean, but what is your comeback magic? A lot of people
Oh yeah.
don't have a comeback magic, they have something that kind of derails them, and it's hard. The comeback is hard, but I feel like for you, you get energized in that comeback just from
I,
our
I mean, I,
conversations.
yeah, I mean, where I was 3 years ago, not able to run, DNFing Ironman Kona in 2022, because of my knees. I mean, I have an amazing husband who's out there riding with me, who encourages me and it's like, Laura, this is what you love. Why you have to get back on the bike. So I have him to
Awesome.
thank for many of my times when I maybe didn't want to go out the door because he's like, let's go. So he
That's
gets me out. He's a
great.
great cyclist. So, I had someone to chase. So
Mhm.
that was helpful. But then it took a while to get back into my girl group, because it's a struggle to build back the muscles in your quad. It's just a struggle. No matter what your injury is, it becomes a struggle. But I was never willing to quit. I really wasn't. I mean, I love what I do. And I love that I get to go to Kona and see people I only see in Kona. That's the only time I see them. And I really like that part of the journey. I mean, they're friends that I've known for my first year I did it was 87. So since 87, some of the same people.
Wow. And I think
So,
that's the difference, right? Like you just said it. You don't quit. Most people, a lot of people, I'm not gonna say a number, would use that as an excuse to hang up their shoes and be like,
right,
you know what? I'm injured now. Now I don't have to work towards that anymore,
right.
right? So many people would use that as an excuse, and you're like, no, you're not taking this away
No,
from
and
me. I want to get back out there.
I
So
can't imagine not doing it. I know that at some point that I will slow down and I won't be doing Ironmans, for instance. But I'd be really sad about that. But I told my husband maybe this is my last, but I don't know. I mean, then they have Ironman Jacksonville, and I'm like, well, that sounds like a good one to sign up because that's brand new. So he's like, what? So I get that over time. You maybe that because it's a lot of work, but there's always halves and there's sprints and Olympics and there's
Right.
a way to stay involved and to cheer people on. And I belong to this team called Core Sports, and it is all about women helping women, really, and being so it's more of a social media. I mean, it's a company, but it's social media based in terms of getting to be connected to people. So they are very cool, and it's a great environment to meet other women, whether I ever see them or not, because they're all over the country and actually some
Right.
in the world. So it's just been also very helpful as I train as well. So
I'd like to say one thing so our listeners understand, because you're extremely modest and humble,
I don't.
but you have a lot of age group podium wins. So this isn't just somebody on our show who just loves to do it, works hard and does it. I mean, you do win. So I just want to make sure people understand that. I believe you have 9 podium wins at Kona.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is an extraordinary individual. And so, things that she's sharing with us, well, you're humble and I get that, but you're definitely the exception.
Oh, yeah.
Most people your age are not don't have this type of, background. And so I think it's inspiring. Our platform for the podcast, we started based on doctoral students. That's a hard journey getting your PhD,
I can't imagine.
right?
Hmm.
We had our friend on last week. He's an emergency room physician, also a 16-time Ironman finisher.
Oh, great.
We talked about burnout, right? And we talked about how grueling medical school is. So I think it would be interesting actually to run a study on, because you have your bachelor's and master's
Yes.
and you're a teacher and so you have an accomplished academic career as well. So I
Hmm.
wonder, Marilyn and I have talked about high performance and high performing individuals athletically.
Yes.
Does that go hand in hand
There's a connection.
academically? We haven't ran that study.
Somewhere there is a connection. There has
But
to be.
yes,
Yeah.
but I wanted to ask you. So I think that while we're talking about your journey to Kona, I think it's applicable and relatable to anything you're going after in your life that requires hard work
Yes.
and dedication and longer term. Like you didn't just start training for this like the last 6 months. I mean, this
No.
has been,
Every year.
years.
Yeah. Years. Yeah. Years.
So I guess my question then is, how do you, because we just had this conversation in episode 18, how do you prevent burnout for yourself? Beyond the social connections, beyond loving it, physically, what does that look like?
I think for me, I am like very, very good at listening to my body.
Okay.
So if I'm, trying to do a run or, um, it hurts to bike or whatever, I try and respect that and stop.
Okay.
So, and then I always take after the end of the season, I usually take 2 to 4 weeks completely away from almost everything, maybe except my biking, because I love to be on a bike outside, which is inherently dangerous. However, that's what I love. So I will, and my husband does it. So we will go for a bike ride, but it's no stress, and I'm not chasing anyone. I'm not trying to worry about watts or heart rate. I'm just
Right.
having fun. So I think that's how I do it. I think that, yeah, I mean, that's what I do. Because there's still always has been for me a love. I was not an athlete as a child whatsoever. I was a cheerleader. That was it. 4 years of cheerleading, 1 year in college, and it wasn't even athletic. It was in the 70s. It was not athletic like it is today. So that's just what I did. And, when that was done, I didn't care. I was never going to go back to doing any of those things. So I don't know. I think in my 20s, I called myself a couch potato. We had 2 kids. Life was busy. I was working. I was getting 2 master's degrees. I was busy. But at 30, I'm like, oh, let me try this. And it stuck. I don't think it would have stuck in my 20s. I don't. I don't think I was ready for doing anything physical. I did nothing physical.
You
Zero.
made a really
That
interesting
makes
point
sense.
in when I interviewed you for this story that's coming out in Triathlete magazine about training and racing through pregnancy.
Oh yeah.
And when you started, it was a time when I think the race director said to you, Laura, I don't think you're
Yeah,
not
we don't want
supposed
you
to
out
do
here. Yes.
right.
Yes.
So you
Yeah.
were really
He
at the
did.
forefront of that for women.
Yes, and there was absolutely no information. Not, and my doctor said, well, why, you don't need to do it. Well, of course I didn't need to do it, but I felt super healthy. I mean, I had healthy pregnancies, all that. So it was not a stretch to swim, bike, and run to me because I'd been doing that all the time. And so that was in the 1990. Because my girls, first two girls were born in the 80s, and then my third child came in 91. So yeah, I just did what I felt. I never let my heart rate get high, but yet I was still winning. Like I was winning Olympic distance races while pregnant. So then when I finished, he was quite happy he did it. And I think I probably did three that summer, but by the end of the time I was 4 months pregnant at the end of my last race in August. So it wasn't like I was yeah, anyway, and I was fit to go into it. And I just yeah, I talked to her. She's the one who knows all about my racing even today. She will call my husband and tell him what's going on by using the Ironman tracker. You know, she is on it. My youngest is Carrie Ann. And she just, yeah, it's lovely to have someone like that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great story for other women to hear that you can sell. I mean, I remember going through, training and stuff, and I didn't start until after my kids were a little bit older, but I remember listening to other women at the gym say, no, that, at that time the research came out where you could work out as long as you were already working out,
Right.
then
Oh,
you
I didn't
could
know that.
go into, continue working out while you were pregnant. But your time, it seemed like it was earlier before all of that research came out. So
Was
that's
nothing.
really good.
Even perimenopause, that wasn't even a term when I was, I guess, going through perimenopause. No one ever said that word to me once. And even menopause, which was my late 50s, was no one talked about it.
No,
No
it's a
one.
hush hush.
It was so
That's
hush
why we're
hush.
being
And
so
there was
loud about it now.
no data about that and dealing with hot flashes and just the mood swings and all of that, so it is wonderful what has happened, that the world is changing for women,
Yes, finally.
and I
I
just,
I feel like in some ways, when I listen to you speak, you don't, you maybe you didn't even recognize it, but you've been a trailblazer.
oh yeah, I didn't.
You didn't think about it. You just were doing it, and
I
you were
did it.
just doing it in territories and areas that it hadn't been done before. And so
Right.
I think it's really interesting when when you have a chance after Kona and just kind of reflect on your journey and maybe we work on that next project together. I
Yes.
think that you should, reflect about being a trailblazer and where where that came from and just everything that you've seen in terms of, women being so much more empowered now, to
Yes.
strength train and to, do everything through pregnancy and
Right.
through different physiological phases in their
Yes. And
lives.
even now, as I'm moving into my 70s, the even the physiological changes that are still happening, no one's really addressing those yet.
Great.
I mean, because mostly by the time you're 70, everyone's through menopause. But they don't talk about necessarily what happens after, what's really,
Right.
changing, still changing,
Yeah.
because it does change.
Bone density,
So,
because I know,
mhm,
I speak with a lot of women about their bone density, and
mhm,
now they're all going to get the test, and
yeah,
now it's like, well, they're already past, they've already had the osteopenia, and they're already into the actual
right.
osteoporosis, and they're like, well, what could I have done? I was like, because we don't talk enough about it in the
No,
earlier years.
no,
Then all of a sudden you're hit with it, and you're like, well, where was the information on this? Why didn't I know about this?
right,
So
Good point.
which is why I keep saying earlier and earlier, we have to have these conversations. We have to be
right,
vocal. We have to be talking about successful aging doesn't mean 50s and 60s. We should start
right,
talking about it 20s, 30s, 40s,
right.
because each,
So it's kind of interesting, funny. My oldest daughter is 43, and she was talking about being perimenopausal. I go, what? Like, what are you talking about? Really? I said, I didn't go through menopause till my, mid to late 50s. And she says, well, Mom, I'm perimenopausal. And I go, okay. But it's just funny that now that's what they're talking about it, which is
yes,
great.
a whole
Which is,
platform is that's all we talk about is
yeah.
being and I call it the perimenopausal pivot because we're trying to like, nope, this, oh no, maybe this
Not,
doesn't
how
work.
am I supposed to feel
And
today? Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
But it's because we didn't talk about it before.
no.
but now we're going to talk about
Well,
Hopefully.
let me ask you this question. I
Uh-huh.
was swimming with a friend of mine yesterday, and she's listened to a lot of our podcasts. And she said, Sarah, I love listening to your podcast, but I really want to know for some of these athletes what their training looks like. We tend
Oh,
not to get into the training because, I feel like that could almost be our whole episode.
yeah, right, 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 right.
But I mean, could you give us like, and maybe not right now because you're 3 weeks out, maybe you're more in like a taper. I don't know if you're in tapering, but like let's just say in the world of of your training, what does a week look like?
So I'm, because I'm retired and I have my own little business that I can do on my, I have a lot more free time. I mean, my husband's not retired, but which is, great. He loves what he does. So I mean, I would say it goes in cycles. So we're coming to the end of the year, my last race, all of that. So my time will go from currently right now, I'm about 20 to 22 hours a week. And that's including 2 swims. I used to swim 3 days a week, but I haven't been able to fit that in. I don't, just is one of those things. I'll bike probably 3 days a week, probably more biking than anything else. I do more biking than anything. More time is spent biking because that's my first love. And then I run probably 3 to 4 days a week. And the runs are like Monday's recovery, Tuesdays a run after I bike for, 20 minutes, not long. Wednesday I tend to do my long run because if I used to, when I was younger, wait and do the long run on Sunday, but I can't do that anymore. So the dynamics of what I do and how I've done it is not something that is year to year to year the same. It's not because that's how you realize that your body's different.
Right. You have to
So,
adapt to
and
that.
then, so it adds up and I do strength. So, and I never did strength
Mhm.
until my mid to late 60s. Not once did I do strength. So that has become a key component. I go to this place in Atlanta called Fitness Firm, and Randy Nicholson is just amazing about knowing the body. And so when I first went back to him, it was like my glutes aren't firing. All those things that you think you got covered, you do not have covered.
Interesting.
So I put, I have a couple hours a week in strength training, which I never had in my schedule. That's how I always say I get to 22 hours because I do 2 hours of, weight, strength, core, PT stuff, things like that.
Do you do
So
massage or
I
yoga?
do get a massage every week.
Okay.
I do. I spend my money on things that help me. So I get a massage every week, at least at this age. I probably before maybe twice a month, but now I can't not do it.
Right.
My body will
so
revolt.
important.
Yeah.
I remember just working at the gym and I was working 12 hours a day with only a couple hours in between clients and and I taught class, like the fitness classes. And I just remember, my body being like, oh my gosh, would get so burnt out. And then I met a massage therapist who says, you need to start coming frequently to get a massage because of what you do. Best advice ever.
Yes, ever.
Um,
Yeah,
Best
they're
money ever
wonderful.
spent because
Yes.
it
Yeah,
saved me, I think.
I agree. And I also see a chiropractor just to make sure I'm lined up more than anything.
Hmm.
She kind of, I can go in there and she'll tell me what's wrong. Your hips are this. And after all my work on my glutes this summer, and I hadn't seen her for a couple months, I went in and she's like, wow, what'd you do to your glutes? And I'm like, yay, winning. It's working. It's working. So,
what
because you
does
never know.
what
But
does rest look like for you?
Sunday.
Sunday.
Sunday is a day that my husband and I sleep in, get up. He makes this great breakfast. Like today, I sat on the couch and didn't do anything and went to a soccer game, came back for this. I mean, it is my day of easy, or I'll read, or I've been trying to stay away from a lot of social media stuff currently. So because I end up more anxious than I love to be. So anyway,
That's
yeah,
interesting. I like to call it like tune out the noise because
yes,
you are on this path and
right.
journey down to Kona,
Yes.
and energy is
Yeah,
everything is about energy.
right.
We only
It
have so much
is. And you
energy in a
can
day.
lose it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think that's smart. Mhm.
Yeah. So
But
so that's kind of what it's like for me right now. So and we leave in 2 weeks and I'm super excited because all my kids, my oldest daughter that's a principal and her husband's a teacher. They aren't coming, but their kids are coming. So we'll
Oh,
have all the grandkids, and I'll have, you know, my both my two of my daughters and their husbands. So I've never gone with the whole family other than when there were three of us and my husband and I, so five people. So this will be the first time with 12 people in my house and the rented house and just, all these things. So the
exciting. What
For,
a cheer squad.
yes,
and for
yes,
some,
instantly.
excuse me,
So
sorry.
yeah, so
For
I
some of
mean,
our listeners who don't really know what Kona, like the emotional part about going to Kona.
oh,
Explain, you have to qualify. Explain that.
Can you
Like, you have to
yeah.
explain a
qualify.
little bit about like what it means to go to Kona, what it feels like
Yeah.
to be at Kona, just so our listeners understand that,
So it's kind
how
of
exciting it is.
like, if you want to use football, it's kind of like being able to get to the Super Bowl.
Hmm.
Really, because you have to qualify. And as the years have gone on, it's become harder and harder and more challenging to get there. So, and you usually typically right now have to do one Ironman to try and get to Kona. There's very few slots. And this year it's women's only. So I'm super excited about that because they had that in 23 and I was recovering from surgery. So I didn't get to race. So I've never raced a straight on women's race. So that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that. But it is just, it's not easy. They've just redone their model, I guess, is of how you can get there. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know how it's going because I already had my slot for this year in Texas in April. So yeah, it's hard work. It's like you would, it's like getting to be at the top of your sport, no matter what your age is or what your speed is. It accepts all of that on that day. So yeah.
Now, explain for some of our listeners who might not understand the distances. What is a full Ironman? What are you going to be racing at?
So in the morning by 7 o'clock, we go off and we swim in the ocean, which is the most beautiful place. Like that's my happy place on earth is in the bay in Kona. And my husband, poor guy, when he married me, he's like, "Where? Where's your happy place?" In Kona. And just swimming in salt water. And I have hundreds of pictures with dolphins that I've swam. They're above me. I mean, it's just magical to me. And I probably more than anything, like you can get anxious in a swim race. This is not where I get anxious because I'm like, I am where I'm supposed to be
It's
right now.
Zen.
The water pretty calm there? Like, I mean, I've been
Yeah, it might
out like
have
that. I've never.
swells,
Okay.
unlike like Florida, where you'd have some waves brushing you, and you don't have that. We're in a kind of a protective bay, Kua
Okay.
Bay, it's called. No, not Kua Bay, sorry. It's called, in Kona, downtown Kona. So no, it will have some big swells, but no choppy water, typically. Typically. And then you have to run pretty far away to get to your bikes, and the transition usually takes five.
What's the distance, the swim
Oh,
distance?
as soon as it's 2.4 miles, 4,000 yards,
Okay,
2.4 miles.
4,000 yards. Okay.
Yeah. And then the transition, and then you get on your bike and you bike 112 miles. So we bike all the way to a town called Hobby, which is like its own little rainforest. We don't see much of the town at all, obviously, but we turn around and come back. And it is hot in Kona, really hot. Usually the ground temperature is like 100.
Wow.
Um, and then you get off the bike, transition again, I don't change my clothes, put my running shoes on, and then you get out and you run 26 miles. And in Hawaii, it's in the 90s, it feels like 90 because
Mhm.
it's very high humidity. So you run a marathon, 26 miles after the 112-mile bike.
What's
So
the
and
bike
that's the
like?
mental toughness.
What's the bike like? Is it hilly?
It's about 5,000 feet of climbing, I think. So not flat. No, not flat. There's a 5 mile climb to the turnaround, almost to the turnaround. And then you turn around, you come down, you get to go down it. So it's varied terrain. And the thing in Hawaii, you can have trade winds, which make it more challenging, really hard. Yeah.
So what do you tell yourself when you're out there, let's say at mile, I don't know, maybe 80? I
Oh,
don't
so
know.
I sing a song.
Do
No, I
you
sing a song.
visualize?
Nope, sing a song. I sing, I
You
don't know.
sing?
Yeah, I sing out loud.
That's
By
awesome.
me and I sing. So it's a dumb song. Well, it's not dumb. It's by Smash Mouth. I don't even know the real title of it, but it's Hey Now, You're a Rock Star, put your game
Oh
on.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah, you're a
that's
rock
what I
star.
sing. And I have been singing that for 20 years.
Oh,
So yeah, some people have mantras. I just sing. Like
That's awesome.
so that's what I do.
I
That's how I
love
get
that. I love
through
that.
those hard spots because they're hard spots. I'm not lying. It is not easy.
and
Um,
Right.
it doesn't matter, right? Like, so we know when you line up and transition, they kind of categorize you by your age. So like the 20,
Do they do
at least,
that still by age?
well, at least,
I
I
don't.
mean,
Yes, yes, and usually women 55 or 60 and older are last always.
right now, but when you're doing it, it doesn't like cutoff
No,
times are not,
no, it's
doesn't
by
matter,
you
right?
have in the swim you have 2 hours and 20 minutes from the time you jump in, not
From,
from the
right,
time.
from your, okay,
Right,
from your time when that group.
right. So the pro athletes, pro females go first, and maybe they start at 6:45, so they have to finish before. Well, they will. They finish in like
Right.
8 hours or
Okay.
whatever. So, yeah, no, it's a time, you have your time. Same with the bike. You have 10 and a half hours of total time. So you have to be off the bike pretty much. If you start at 7, it used to be you had to be off the bike by 5:30 in the afternoon. And then the run, you have 17 hours from the time you
I was just going to
start.
ask you that. 17
Yeah,
hours
17
total.
hours. Mhm.
17 hours.
Yep, and I've done a couple where I've been out there almost that long. Yep.
Yeah, and that's what I have a friend that she was just did 100 miler, but she didn't make her cutoff, and she did it better than she did the last one. So we
Right.
just keep saying, you know what, you learn from every race.
Every
But I
race.
can remember coming out of my swim at Panama City Beach, not understanding that at the time. I didn't know that. Nobody, I thank God nobody ever did tell me because I would have probably looked at my watch so I never knew that rule
Right.
until I was done. But I only had like 2 minutes maybe to spare
To
because
spare. Yeah.
it was a red flag that day. But by the time we were
Was
done,
that
they
the
were
Ironman or the half?
half Ironman.
Oh
And
yeah.
remember it being so bad and we were fighting waves. People were getting rescued. People were
Yes.
hanging on like for dear life to the buoy. People were throwing up. It was bad, but I just
Yes.
remember coming out and like everything else was great. Best bike ever. Run was,
See, what a great learning experience.
yeah, and it was.
Because
And then
you persevered and kept going when the going was really tough.
yes, it was so. I remember going out and practicing the day before because that's what my coach had recommended. And I
Mhm.
remember standing there like, there's no way.
You're
There's
not
no
getting
way.
this
It
way.
was so choppy, but I did. And that was awesome. But I just think of like, what happens when you do get tapped out? What
Your
does that
day's
do?
over. Yeah, your day's
Yeah.
over.
Well, let
Yeah.
me ask you this, Laura.
Uh-huh.
Do you use visualization at all, like now leading into Kona? Do you think like do you kind of work your mind through different scenarios and
Yes, I
I because
do.
I think there's a lot of power in visualization.
Yes, I do. I especially like yesterday when we had a big long hard bike ride and it was hot and I just kept saying, okay, this is like going, up to Javi. It's a long climb. It's just you got to be steady and you have to think about that. So yeah, I do visualize it. Like even the morning before the race starts, I'll sit there and think about my swim and I don't care about my time. I just want to make sure I get out. And I know when I see the pier, I can like kind of push a little bit to get in. And then the bike, same thing I think about because I'm not after doing it 27 times, I know where every
Right.
hill is,
Very
where
familiar with it.
so I can visualize like at 100 miles, we climb this big awful hill at 100 miles. It's hot. It's the wind could be blowing and I just think, well, I'll get up it. I've done it before. I can get up this, even
Right.
though it's miserable. And it is miserable. There's parts of it that are miserable, but then I sing my song and I'm not so miserable. So this is why I always tell my athletes, if you just smile, you cannot feel bad because it changes your face. It changes how you think. So I'm a big proponent of telling all my athletes, no matter what race they're doing, that they need to smile because
Smile.
they feel
That's
better.
nice.
I
So,
remember you shared a story with me, and I think it kind of shows what kind of person you are about because you also were coaching for
mhm.
many years.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this just happened randomly. I don't think this was somebody you were coaching. I think you just met a young gentleman at the pool or somewhere who didn't know how to swim.
Yeah, I met him in a bike store.
Right. And then you
Totally
worked with him,
random.
you worked with him and taught him how to swim.
Taught him how to swim, taught him how to blow
And
bubbles.
and then
Kind of first thing on the side, blow bubble, turn your head, blow bubbles. And, he had some fundamentals, but not any strength or power or anything in the water. And he finished his first half Ironman this year. And it's so funny you say that because
wow.
we've just recently reconnected. He finished PA school. So now he's got, his full-time job as a PA. And he's like, okay, I'm going to run a half marathon. Can you get me to? And I'm like, of course I can, not here in Atlanta, Thanksgiving. So we're back together. And I just love that. I
I
love
think I think
being
Yeah.
with
that's
him.
maybe the key to your longevity is that, it's that joy that
Yeah,
you
it's joy.
get through, like you said, your tribe, the community, helping others. It's such
Mhm.
a journey beyond yourself. Obviously, you're
Yeah, totally
challenging
beyond myself.
yourself, but it's such a
Yeah.
journey of, I always like to say triathlon brings out the best in humanity. Because when you go to these events, there's so much positive energy
There
and,
So
is
much good energy.
and people overcoming so many different obstacles. I mean, the
so many.
stories, some of them bring
Hmm.
tears to my eyes, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
So I, you're an incredible person. I know you don't
Oh,
want to
but
hear
see, I just
it.
don't. It's so funny you say that because I think, oh, I'm just a normal person who's had a regular life,
Well,
marriage,
not
divorce, kids,
necessarily.
grandkids, and this is where I am toward the later stages of life, really. And I'm still smiling about it, and so that to me just seems like kind of a normal thing uh, to me.
That's why it's so
Great normal.
extraordinary.
That's a wonderful normal.
That
Like,
is, that's it is.
Well,
It's
thank
very,
you.
very humble, and we believe it or not, we're almost at 45 minutes.
Oh gosh, okay.
But
Oh,
I
I could
want
talk
it.
all day,
No,
clearly.
we would love to talk to you longer. But I guess what I would like to say, and Marilyn, if there's anything else you want to say, what do you say to somebody who just has who's thinking about it, who's thinking about going for some big goal? You know, how do you put that first step forward?
I just say either find a coach if you have no idea about what you're doing, or you just start a little bit at a time. Go for a swim. If you don't have a bike, go to the gym and get on a Peloton or whatever you have there. And then run. You can run from anywhere. And, the races, you can do a sprint. You don't ever start with an Ironman or half Ironman. I started with sprints, 2 sprints my very first summer. That's what you need to start small. And then I would say just be consistent over time. If you find that as a path you're enjoying, and maybe you enjoy it, in your 20s, and then your 30s you're married and kids, and you don't have time for that.
Right.
But you can always, to me, triathlon is something you can always come back to
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because once you
excellent
have equipment, you
advice.
have it. So,
Yeah.
there's always typically you can swim. Biking, it'll be the hard thing. And, I'm not sure I advocate for people riding outside as much as I ride outside because I think it's inherently dangerous now.
Right.
I
So,
love to ride outside. I'm the same. Now we have a beautiful legacy trail. It goes,
yeah, I don't have that.
down and back. I can get almost 50 miles. I might have to loop around one area, but it's perfect.
Yep.
And we have a lot of roads with bike lanes, but there are some spots that I
Right.
have almost, lost
Yes.
my
They
way.
ride so close to
Yeah.
you. What the heck?
So, but I prefer it outside. And I always would
Me
tell people,
too.
train in your environment. Like it's
Mhm.
really hard I've seen people go into a race and they've only done a pool swim. They've only done the bike on an indoor bike. They've only ran on a treadmill. And I was like, before you have your first sprint, maybe you
Right.
go outside and you
Yes.
feel what it's like because there's no AC,
Right.
there's
Well, and the other thing is, in a bike, for instance, you never have your helmet on. And I am telling you, if you get outside and put that helmet on in your very first race, your head is going to hurt.
yeah,
Your neck is going to be so sore. You have to, you're right, mimic what might be
yeah,
taking place on that day. Yeah.
yes, totally. That's perfect advice.
Well, aw, I hate to have to say
No.
goodbye. How
That's good.
about
I'm good.
how about this? First of all, we wish you all the best.
Well, thank you.
Best of
Really, you
luck.
deserve to have just a wonderful time, regardless of what it is. Just enjoy the moment. I know you will.
I will. I
We'll
Yeah.
be
will.
cheering from afar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
We would love to have you back, maybe like sometime in the future.
Okay.
Talk about
Yeah,
just
we want to
lessons
hear all about
learned.
it.
Yes.
Yeah, if you'd like. No pressure.
Yeah.
Um,
You know me, I can
so
talk forever.
we send you with a ton of love, ton of
Thank
positive
you so
energy.
much.
And yeah, we're grateful that you spent some time on your day of rest with us. So thank you.
Oh, sure. And I will remember you both. I mean, you don't understand when you're out there forever, those are the things that get you through, like the
Aw,
kindness and just being a part of both of your worlds,
well,
that make you smile, kind of thing. So for me, that's huge.
thank you
And
for
that's
letting us
it. That is, I
know.
think, our
Yeah.
thing we're going to leave with is just keep smiling.
And you both have beautiful smiles, so you should definitely.
Oh, thank
The
you,
whole
Laura.
world will smile with us.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we gotta, you know,
Thank you. I'm good. Thanks so much.
we gotta go. I'm
Okay.
sorry. We will be back. Stay tuned and have a great time in Kona.
Thank you so
Yes, good
much,
luck.
both of you. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody. Much love.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.